Hello, Denise Marsh. Congratulations on your new poetry book, Emotional Morse Code. I'm so happy for you. Yes, let's see the book. Show it longer. Very nice. Just came out. It's available on Amazon. And I thank you for being here to talk about your book. So what do you think poetry does for people more than any other medium? What does it convey to
I
people?
think it brings out, first of all, hi, Krista. I'm sorry.
Hi.
Always good to see you. The tables are turned here. Um, it brings in raw emotion. You could read things and you could empathize with them, but poetry, for some reason, it brings in seconds of raw emotion, like at a very quick speed. And it gives you imagery that creates triggers, some good triggers, some bad triggers, and it
Hmm.
does it in very short spurts of time, rather than when you read in a regular medium. It takes longer for you to feel something. I think with poetry, you feel something instantly.
I love that. And I feel that with your poems, they really convey so much emotion in such a short um, span of words. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So,
I'm
yeah,
glad that you love it.
they're like little powerful gems of insight. So,
That's a very nice
um,
compliment. Thank you.
how do you get the idea for a new poem?
A lot of my poetry comes from having very strong feelings in situations. Sometimes it's hard to deal with those feelings. So by writing them down, I can come back to them and revisit them another time. And sometimes when I read them again, I understand better how I was feeling. And it's kind of like hearing someone else's story when I read it again, like I'm having a talk with someone else. So a lot of times it helps me and it gets me to just put it down and to acknowledge it. Sometimes I can deal with it right away, and sometimes I can come back to it. But it's like a temporary revisit. And I wrote that there's many times I hear someone say something like, it's always something, or it's always nothing, or pieces of joy. And I have to jot it down because it's for a poem. It's something that makes me think. It's something that I want to revisit. And a lot of my feelings go with those titles. So I sometimes I start with the title and then I put my feelings into it. Like some of my ideas I get from astrology readings, from tarot card readings, because I like to watch them. I'm a big tarot card aficionado,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes they'll say things like they'll say what did they say? Something of joy of the day, or pieces of joy actually, or they'll say it was just a song. It was just a song for him, and I'll say, wow, that title is so great. But the
Right,
title for my book actually came from one of my favorite series on Netflix, which was Wednesday, and the main
right.
character Wednesday, who was amazing. She said something to Tyler. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give away the show or anything, but she wasn't understanding what he was saying, and she said, "I'm tired of interpreting your emotional Morse code." And I heard that, and I said, "That's it. That's the title for my book." That was total serendipity.
That's great. I'm watching that show right now. I mean, not right now,
I
but
hope I didn't give it
right now.
away. I won't tell you if it was episode 12 or not.
So your book is all about relationships. What do you think is the most difficult part about relationships?
It's such a good question. There are so many difficult parts, aren't there? um, I think that the most difficult part is healing, the healing part, because it could be heart wrenching, traumatic, it could be brutal. And everyone says one day you'll forget all about this, or one day you won't remember. But everyone's healing process is so different. There are people that heal right away. There are people that heal over time. And like I said earlier, I think it's about triggers. I think when we heal like in waves. Like we'll forget
Hmm.
about something for a little while, and we won't think of the memories of the person. And then suddenly something happens, and it all comes back to us in this wave. So I feel like
Mm.
healing is something that's perpetual. I don't feel like it I feel like it's not fleeting. It's just something that comes with us, and then it comes back to us. It's like a cycle. It's where the
Hmm.
growth happens. It's where you learn about yourself, and it's something like I said, where it comes and goes, and sometimes it comes most when you need it.
Yeah, and speaking of healing, you have two major parts to your book, right? The first
Yes,
part is the difficult part,
yes.
and the
I
second part
actually
is the
started.
healing.
I started with the difficult part, and I wanted to end on a positive note. So I started with heartbreak, and I actually broke it up into subcategories. So with the first part is heartbreak, and it goes into communication blocks, endings, and in the pause. And then the second part is about healing. And in the second part, I have the honeymoon, realizations and affirmations. So it covers quite a lot of depth.
Yeah, yeah, and it ends on a high note.
It does.
It does, yeah. So tell us about the cover of your book.
Okay, well, very proud of the cover of my book. Like I said, where the title came from was from Wednesday on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
And my son Daniel, 16-year-old son, is a computer whiz, and he helped me because I had a picture of a Scrabble board, just a regular plain picture of a Scrabble board, and he said that's boring, in a 16-year-old voice, that's boring, and people won't read it with that cover. And I tend to trust his judgment on things like that since he's great with the computer and he
Yeah,
knows with the TikTok generation and all that. So he said, I want to help you. Let me help you with that. And so I told him how I wanted it to be a Scrabble board because I wanted it to be, letters and pieces and spoken words together. But I wanted it to be like crazy, like you couldn't understand it, like almost
yeah,
existing. So
yeah,
he found me an image. It was not an image or a paper. It was a free image and not soliciting anything at all on Unsplash of falling Scrabble board pieces, just like falling, like cascading, like from
yeah,
and I thought that it was perfect. And then he helped me I wanted the title to be like kind of like alienish, almost like
yeah.
encrypted, like not like cold, like just because sometimes communication is very cold. And he found a font called Alien versus something. I don't remember what it was. Alien. So we did it in that, and then he helped me make the bottom stand out.
That's
So
awesome.
very
Tell
happy with the
Daniel he did
cover.
a great job.
I will. Thank you. It's in the book.
The book promises a catharsis for the reader. So was it I can't say it, a
I know that word is
catharsis
a
for
hard
you,
word.
the writer, as well? And
Yes, it
how
was.
so?
It was, I think all of the things that I write are very cathartic. I think that's one of the major reasons why I do them. Like, they help me. They help. They're very therapeutic and very healing. And catharsis happens to be one of my favorite words. I think I use it all the time. So the book was kind of like my baby. Like I watched it grow. It started off as an idea. I took my poems, I put them together, and I had to go through this whole cycle because it's my first time to, by myself. And I had a vision board, and I had to think about how I wanted things to be and what I remembered in the relationship. And I told myself that I wanted to end it on a high note, and I wanted to I wanted to relive all of the memories, not just the bad memories, but the good memories too. So when I did it, it actually brought up a lot of feelings. Like there were times when I cried reading the poems, or I was happy, or I could remember. Like in the honeymoon stage, I said, "Oh, I remember that. Oh, that was wonderful." And then, in the communication blocks, I remembered all the hurtful things. And so it was kind of like revisiting all of it, the pain and the joy, and making me remember it, but not in a bad way, just like watching a movie and seeing the good parts and the bad parts.
Yeah,
And then the affirmations help me feel like I'm growing. I'm
yeah,
growing, and this should be able to help someone else who wants to grow from an
yeah.
experience.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite poem? Which one, if you do?
Um, it's very hard to pick a favorite because I like a lot of them. And since there's different categories, there's different
Yeah.
sometimes what I did was I picked one from each one. So
Okay.
it's still one favorite, but technically it's from each.
Yeah.
So from the first part, from Heartbreak, I picked under communication block, I picked I'm Going to Hurt You because it was based on a podcast that I heard someone talking about, a relation podcast about a man that was saying that people will tell you, what about themselves, what you need to hear, and sometimes you're not listening. And sometimes someone will tell you, not so many words, but they'll tell you, I'm going to hurt you. You have to know how to see the red flags. So I picked
Yeah.
that because that's been a big theme in my life. And then for endings, I picked If I Love You was a song. In the pause, I picked effort. And in healing, I picked Our Ocean because I love the water. I love being on the water, and a lot of my book was helped by looking at the ocean and staring at the ocean and getting
Yeah, I
ideas.
noticed that there
Very
was
symbolic.
a lot of ocean in your book.
Yes, a lot of water references.
Do you want to
And
read that one, the Our Ocean?
yeah, I can read it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Okay. This is first. Okay. Okay, so let me just find it. It's on page 36. Like I said, triggers. Okay. Our ocean. It's under honeymoon. The ebb and flow of majestic ocean waves mirror my emotions. Each time, each embrace, feelings shared with no apologies, words spoken and not spoken, each wave crashing and falling in our private ocean.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And the last one that I chose was an affirmation, and it was called Calluses on My Heart, because it's about taking in what happened and trying to keep going. It's a very powerful one. It's like you have to stop and think about what happened, how you can make it better later on. And sometimes I struggle with that. And as I think other people do, sometimes we repeat our mistakes and we try to learn from the ones we already made so that we can heal.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something that journaling and other things helps with, you know, so you don't repeat those things. So how do you move from heartbreak to healing?
How do I move from
Like after a relationship is finished, how do you move from heartbreak to healing?
Very slowly sometimes. Well, you know, there's the expression, you know, time heals all wounds, you know, and it's very cliche, but it's really not. It's very true, because sometimes I would get very sad at the beginning of certain things, and I thought I would never get over it. And then as time passes, I say to myself, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing it. I'm not thinking about this person anymore. I'm not thinking about the situation. And so it gets less and less painful. But, you know, the triggers always come back. There's always triggers, like a place that you used to go to, or a drink that you used to have, or, you know, even a restaurant that you used to go to, you know, or someone's name. But, so I do struggle with those triggers, but I also cherish memories that I had that were good memories. But the healing part, sometimes I say to myself, well, what if someone else was talking about this? You know, what if someone else was telling you this? What would you say to them? Would it be okay? You know, and so that helps me. It helps me.
Yeah.
But healing, like I said before, healing is not fleeting at all. It's okay to give in and to deal with the pain and the emotions and then move on. But you will revisit the pain. You'll learn, but you might revisit it. And it's good to let it out. It's good to let it out. It's good to communicate, whether it's with a journal or singing or dancing or talking to friends, or, you know, whatever you do. Some people do pottery. It's good to have some kind of channel where you can get those feelings out and revisit them when you need to and in more productive ways. So
yeah, people need some channel.
They do, or else
yes,
if it stays bottled up, that's like communication block, like I wrote. Then it comes out in ways you don't want it to, very unnatural ways.
Right.
It can destroy something good later on.
Right. So tell us about the book signing event on June 8th.
Very, very excited about the book signing event. Trying to get a lot of people to come. It's going to be one of my favorite places, Village Music and Cafe in Wellington, Florida. It's going to be at 6:30, and I was told I could stay till closing. The signing is going to be accompanied hopefully by a reading or two, and then there will be wonderful jazz after that for people to enjoy, and good eats. So you can make a whole night of it. You get to listen to poetry, possibly buy a book, and listen to jazz, and just have fun and be with people you care about.
That sounds great. Okay, so we'll see you June 8th at 6:30. Now you'll have a few books, but people should maybe buy the book ahead on Amazon, right?
That's what I was going to talk about next. I did order a few books. Hold on 1 second.
Where are you going?
Yeah, let's see how much you see.
I'm talking to an empty chair.
I actually ordered a few of the first book because.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
I ordered a few, not as many as of the second book. It is available on Amazon. It's also available on bnn.com, barnesnobles.com. And there will be a QR code on the banner if people want to purchase it that way. If people want to purchase the physical book, they can pay in cash for the book. I'll have the signs out, let's say.
Okay. It sounds very organized.
Trying.
Very good.
Thank you.
Tell us about the other book that you just showed and other writings that you've had published.
Okay, well, one of the writings that I love writing for is your publication, aroundwellington.com.
Yay.
I do poem of the month a lot of the times for you, and I get to interview people. Like I said, the tables are being turned.
Yes.
Which is kind of fun. So I love that, giving me that job was a blessing.
You do a great job. Yeah.
Thank you. I love it. So my first book was, the word again, catharsis. It was very cathartic for me because I'm a breast cancer survivor, 7 years. And when I was very depressed, I was going through a very bad time, and in counseling, they said, you should write a book. And I had already written so many poems during that time, and I figured all I need to do is turn into a book. So I had all these journals. And so it took a little while, but I put it into a book, and it's called Quiet as a Fire, Silent as a Flame. Another relationship, but this was a relationship with cancer.
Yeah.
And it's in stages. I always do this in stages. So it breaks everything up from all the way from the diagnosis all the way to the end, the reflections. And it's very poignant. It's sad, but it's bittersweet. And the interesting thing about the book is that it's all in color photographs. So it's very different than the one I have now. There's very different books, 2 different subjects and 2 very different books. Even the styles are different. So
how long have you been a breast cancer survivor?
7 years.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very
that's
happy
great.
to be alive and living and doing things I want to do. And this book was written in 2019. So it took me a little while to get my labor of love out, but I will keep writing.
Yes. Excellent. What do you want the reader to come away from your book with?
I think that I want to appeal to a wider audience. I think that the first book, I mean, even though it appealed to anyone that's dealt with cancer or cancer, it appealed to more of a female audience because of the subject matter. But I think the particular book that I have now, I think that it would appeal to younger people, older people, men and women in all different kinds of relationships and even situationships. Yeah. So I think there would be more of a level of understanding and more of an audience, and it would help maybe bridge gaps in communication and help people understand, oh, wait a minute, I went through that. Oh, wait, that was something that happened to me. I remember those feelings, or I can relate, or thank you for writing that. If anyone's going through that and they can make a connection, then I've done my job. Yes.
Relationships are universal, so
yes. And in different places as well. All over.
So what are your other interests and hobbies?
I have quite a few. I adore live music, hence village music. I like swimming. I like being on the water. And one of my favorite hobbies is dancing. And I've been dancing for 3 years now, ballroom and Latin, at Fred Astaire in Wellington. And it's gives me great joy. It's a great stress reliever, and I'm very passionate about it. I also like to sing. I'm not very good, and I'm not even talking about shower singing. But during the pandemic, and I hope I'm saying it right, I needed more of a connection with people, and I felt very isolated and alienated. So I started singing, and I said, I wonder if there's a way, I could sing with other people. And then I found Spiel, and I sing with people all over the world, and I've actually done over 3,000 recordings. So
wow.
Yeah, so I connect with people in China, people in Australia, and I have names for them, and we're not always live at the same time, but it's a wonderful connection that I want to keep forever.
What's it called again? Smule?
S-M-U-L-E, yeah.
Yeah, like smile, but with a U.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I actually don't, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't do the paying part. You can be a VIP and do the paying part. I don't, but people invite me to sing with them. And I'm not sure if they think I'm so horrible that they sound great. That's why I keep getting called back. Because they keep saying your voice is great. So either they're listening to someone else or I just make them look really good. But I'll stay with it because I love it.
Is there anything else that you want to tell me about your book that I forgot to ask?
Not about the book, but more about like a future endeavor.
Sure.
But what I would love to see happen is I would love for the book to be translated into other languages, specifically Spanish, because I know a lot of Spanish and I'm around Spanish culture a lot. And I just think it would be a wonderful opportunity for other people. People have asked about it being translated. Obviously, the book has to make enough money to do that, to even consider that.
Yeah.
But my dream would be for it to go to other languages like Spanish, French, Mandarin, possibly German and Russian, and to be able to put that together and travel. That's my dream. And I'd also like to collaborate with a songwriting team or a specific songwriter and put some of my poems to music. Not with me singing, of course, but with me just giving the lyrics and the poetry. But I think in the future I'll continue to write poetry and I'll highlight different relationships. It'll always, I think a lot of times it'll be about a relationship, not specifically a love interest, but it can be about a subject. Just some, always communication and always different subjects and different styles, so people could see more versatile, versions. Maybe even haiku and prose. And
you're never gonna run out of material, Denise.
I don't. I never run out of material. It's just the poems just come, so I just go with it.
Yeah.
But I really would love to be on a bestseller list one day. So we'll see what happens with that.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Krista.
This was awesome.
Thank
June
you.
8th, everybody. June 8th is the
Hope
book
to see
signing.
you there. And I promise I'll write more than my name. I promise I'll write something special if you come. Not you, but you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So the book again, the newest book.
Yep.
And then the older book from 2019. You can even buy both.
Hey.
So I look forward to seeing you. And this was great to be interviewed. Like I said, turning the tables.
Yeah. The tables have turned.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
In a good way. Yeah.
Okay, Denise.
Thanks, Krista.
Bye.
Bye.